Welcome to The Explainer. We're diving into two colossal AI battles today. First, the war for the self-driving car. Second, the race to build true artificial intelligence. But here's the twist. What if I told you they're both being fought with the exact same secret strategy? So first up, let's talk about cars. In the race to build self-driving vehicles, Nvidia seems to be signing up every major automaker on the planet. They're just flocking to them. So you have to ask, is Tesla's whole robotaxi dream in really big trouble? And then there's the second battle. We're talking about the sprint to create the most powerful AI the world has ever seen. Can a relative newcomer, Elon Musk's XAI, actually stand a chance against the Goliaths of the industry, like OpenAI?
All right, let's get right into it. First up, the battle for the road. This is a huge one, a high-stakes fight for the entire future of driving as we know it. If you just look at the headlines, Nvidia's position looks, well, completely unstoppable. Their CEO, Jensen Huang, just got on stage and announced this massive coalition of automakers. We're talking almost 20 of them, representing millions and millions of cars, all ready to use Nvidia's platform. Honestly, it sounds like game over, right? But, and this is a huge but, Tesla has one thing that you just can't buy. It's a strategic weapon they've been building for years. 8.5 billion miles of actual real-world driving data. And that data, it's literally the lifeblood you need to teach an AI how to handle the absolute chaos of a real road.
And that massive data advantage, it really shines a light on a completely different way of thinking. It's a classic business school case study, really, selling the tools versus building the whole system from the ground up. So here's the bottom line. Nvidia is playing the picks and shovels game, and they're playing it brilliantly. They're selling the chips, the software, basically all the tools everyone needs for this AI gold rush. But Tesla, they're doing something totally different. They're not selling the shovels, they're building the entire gold mine. They own everything from the custom silicon in the car all the way to the giant data centers that are crunching all that real-world driving data. Okay, but let's dig a little deeper, past those splashy partnership announcements. When you do, a very different picture starts to emerge. For all the talk, Nvidia's partners seem to be years behind. Most of them are aiming for, 2027? They have zero high-level autonomous cars on the road today. And maybe most importantly, where's the data infrastructure? Nobody's announced anything even close to what you'd need to compete with Tesla. What that means is Tesla has this absolutely colossal head start. Their system is already up and running, they have the data, all those weird one-in-a-million events you need to train an AI. They have their own custom hardware, perfectly optimized for the job. And they have the massive computer clusters to process it all. Oh, and here's a fun thought. Do you really think competitors like Mercedes and BYD are just gonna share all their precious driving data with each other? Yeah, probably not. Okay, so now let's switch gears. Let's move to that second battlefront, the fight for AI supremacy, because you're about to see this exact same strategic pattern play out all over again. So the story you usually hear goes something like this. Elon Musk's new company, XAI, and its AI model Grok are basically late to the party, right? They're desperately trying to play catch-up with the big guys like OpenAI and Anthropic, and those guys are already out there delivering amazing value, especially for things like writing complex code. But just like with the cars, the reality on the ground starts with one thing: raw, brute force power. XAI is building a mind-bogglingly huge advantage in pure computing horsepower. They're aiming for a single connected cluster of over 1 million GPUs. To put that in perspective, that is a scale of power that nobody else is even close to touching right now. But here's where it gets really interesting. Their secret weapon isn't just having more power. It's a completely different philosophy for how an AI should interact with the world. You can think of it as the ghost in the machine. Okay, so stick with me here. Most of the AIs we use today, they talk to other software using something called an API. It's kind of like a special pre-approved doorway between programs. But here's the problem, and it's a big one. Something like 80 to 90% of the software out there, especially all that old, clunky business software that companies actually run on, doesn't have one of those doorways. So the AI is locked out. So that brings us to the billion-dollar, maybe trillion-dollar question. How do you build an AI that doesn't need a special doorway? How do you create an AI that can use any program right out of the box, no special setup needed? Well, the answer is kind of brilliant in its simplicity, and it comes straight out of the Tesla self-driving playbook.
You don't build special doorways. You just teach the AI to look at the screen and use the mouse and keyboard, exactly like a human does. And that is the core of xAI's strategy. They're calling it a digital Optimus. Just think about it. The AI literally watches the video feed from your computer screen. It uses that same powerful vision AI from Tesla's cars to understand what's happening. And then it just takes over the mouse and keyboard. It becomes this ghost in the machine, a digital white-collar worker that can operate any piece of software on Earth because it's just looking at it like you or I would. So when you finally zoom out, you see it, right? You realize you're not actually watching two different stories. It's one single core philosophy being applied to two of the biggest industries on the planet.
So let's break it down. On one side, you've got the tools businesses. Nvidia's selling the chips and software. OpenAI and Anthropic are selling API access. They're all enabling other people to build things. Then, on the other side, you have the system businesses. Tesla isn't just selling car parts. They're building the entire robotaxi network. And xAI isn't just selling access to an AI. They're building an entire digital workforce. They are the final product.
And Elon Musk's bet here couldn't be clearer. He's been really open about this. He believes that the only way to truly win in this new era is to build these fully integrated end-to-end businesses that are AI from their very core. And that leaves all of us with the ultimate strategic question of our time. In this new age of AI, is it better to sell the picks and shovels to everyone scrambling in the gold rush? Or is it better to be the one who builds, owns, and operates the entire gold mine? The answer to that question is probably going to define the next decade of technology, and maybe a whole lot more.